And this is what we read. On the first day of the week, very early in the morning, the women took the spices they had prepared and went to the tomb. Now, what's interesting about this is they are expecting what all of us expect out of life. There are movies that have good endings. There are fairy tale stories. But most of us know that life hands us a good mix of both the good and the bad. And that many times things don't quite work out the way that we hope, because we don't live in a perfect world. And these women are not expecting anything. They are not expecting the twist of fate that is about to happen. The whole mood here is dark and depressing. And it's hard for us to wrap our minds around this. It's hard for us to jump back in time and begin to look and say, well, didn't they see it? Couldn't they see what was coming? No. Because the world had taught them that bad things do happen to good people. That sometimes things don't work out the way that we plan. You know what? All of us live that way. All of us have that cynical attitude because we know life. And as much as we might hope for the best, we do prepare our hearts for the worst. It says this, when they got there, verse 2, they found the stone rolled away. And when we think about it, and many of the pictures that you see of the tomb and any kind of paintings and things like that, the boulder's just a little off the doorway, right? The term here in the Greek is that the boulder was blown away. It wasn't just rolled back out of place. It was removed from the area. Something tremendous happened here. They found that the stone was rolled away from the tomb, but when they entered, they did not find the body of the Lord Jesus. So even with the stone gone, they came expecting to find his body in there. While they were wondering about this, suddenly 2 men in clothes that gleamed like lightning stood beside them. In their fright, the women bowed down with their faces to the ground, but the men said to them, "Why do you look for the living among the dead?" And they answered, I almost could see them sitting there like, because he's dead. That's the last time we saw him. He was dead, just like a lot of other people that we've seen who have died. You don't come back from that. The only time we ever saw anybody come back from the dead, it was Jesus that brought him back from the dead. Now he's dead. Then these angels said, "He is not here. He has risen." And with those words, everything was about to change. "Remember," they said, "how he told you while he was still with you in Galilee, the Son of Man must be delivered into the hands of sinful men, be crucified on the third day, and on the third day be raised again." And get this, then they remembered his words. Then suddenly they're like, the light clicks on and they said, wait, he was being honest? He wasn't just speaking fantasy? He wasn't just trying to get our hopes up? This is what really happened? Now things have changed. They went from being people that were wondering to a bunch of women who were in wonder of what was happening. And other gospels tell us it was at this point that Jesus himself met with them. And they were convinced that what Jesus said was true. Now, we read in verse 9, when they came back from the tomb, they told all these things to the 11 and all the others. It was Mary Magdalene, Joanna, Mary the mother of James, and the others with them who told this to the apostles. So the women go back and they know where all the guys are because the guys are still hiding, still scared, still wondering if they're next. And the women come in and they say, he's not there. We met some angels, and the angels said that he was raised from the dead, just like he told us when we were in Galilee. And so what do the apostles do? Do they get up and they start celebrating, and they start high-fiving, and they start having a great time? And they say, this is it, this really happened? No. What we read is verse 11, but they, meaning the disciples, did not believe the women, because their words seemed like nonsense. Because that's not what happens in life. those kind of happy endings aren't written for us. Peter, however, got up and ran to the tomb. Bending over, he saw the strips of linen lying by themselves, and he went away wondering to himself what had happened. Even in the face of the reality of what happened, if somebody stole Jesus' body, why would they leave the linen there? It was against the law to touch something that was dead. Why would they unwrap him? He left wondering, what was this all about? You see, things had changed, and Peter was trying to wrap his brain around the change that just happened. For us, it's old news. For them, it was a new reality. That Jesus, wait a second, if he said that they're going to kill me and 3 days later I'm going to rise again, and now it's 3 days later and he's not here, and the ladies say that they've seen him. If that's true, then what else did Jesus say that's true? What other things did Jesus claimed to be the Son of God? Well, wait a second. If he was raised from the dead, maybe that's true. Jesus said he came to forgive sins. Wait a second. If he raised from the dead, maybe that's true. And Peter walked away, and step by step, I think, was coming to the realization that everything Jesus said wasn't simply to try to pluck up their courage and to inspire them, but what Jesus was saying was actually true. Now, we can be kind of hard on the disciples, because after 2,000 years of repeating this story, we kind of say, didn't you get it? Couldn't you see it? But honestly, we all fall into that same trap. How many of us look forward to Monday morning because we expect great things? I guarantee you, your excitement level this morning is going to be a lot higher than it will be tomorrow morning. Because Monday's just Monday. Do you know Easter Sunday was their Monday? Their worship was on Saturday. They were getting up on Monday just thinking, hey, this is just going to be a regular Monday. It just happened to be Sunday for them. But everything was about to change. If you don't believe me, if you say, well, no, I tend to be a little bit more optimistic, you can be. But ultimately, there's a cynical side to you that knows life. Like if you have a friend who's taking a test or making a presentation or playing a game or doing something where they're kind of putting themselves out there, the next time you see them, what's one of the questions that you ask them? How did it go? Why don't you start that conversation? Congratulations! You know why you don't start that conversation that way? It's because you know life. And you know that not everything works out exactly as planned. You walk up and you say, so how did it go? And you're hopeful. But then they begin to tell you the story, and whether it goes good or bad, well, the bad doesn't really surprise you. The good, what do? Yeah, that's awesome, that's great. Why is it great? Because it's not normal. What's normal is that things aren't great. What's normal is things can be depressing. Things don't work out. People get sick. People die. People lose their jobs. Life isn't easy. And we can wrap a lot of stuff on the disciples. Well, guess what? We're just like them because we're human too. And each and every one of us hope. But that's because we know reality. We just hope that reality will kind of throw us something nice for a change. And Peter suddenly is beginning to think, wait a second. Maybe Jesus did come to change this unhappy ending world. That maybe this is the start of a new pattern for mankind, for humanity, for the world in which we live. Now we begin to get to the why of Easter. Many of us know the what, but do we understand the why? See, Jesus came into an unhappy ending world and wanted to provide a happy ending. Wanted to give us hope that was real. See, Jesus once said in John chapter 10, verse 10, the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. We all know what it's like to have things taken. We all know what it's like to experience death. We all know what it's like to watch something be destroyed. But he also said, I have come that you might have life and have it to the full. And if Jesus was raised, maybe this was true too. Peter left the tomb that day beginning to wonder, could this really be true?